Welcome, my tarot friends. Thank you for joining me today for my declutter video. This is the first declutter video I've ever done, and to be honest with you, I only have a few decks to share. And I'm very happy and grateful that this is the case, because that means that my intuition is working well. There's only a few decks that I want to declutter. I think there is 7 decks that I want to declutter. So let me just start with this one, Oak, Ash and Thorn. I think I talked about this one before. This is a deck that is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. It shuffles like a dream. It has amazing drawings of animals from the forest. And as you know, if you watch my channel, you know that forest plays a huge role in my life. It played a huge role in my childhood and in the way I was brought up. So I thought this deck is going to be my soul deck. That is going to be a deck that I'm going to instantly connect to and read with it so easily, and it's just the opposite. I cannot connect with it. I tried so hard. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just me. It's a me thing. So I am definitely selling this deck. Yeah, it is not used at all. It is in a perfect condition. So I think it deserves to be loved by someone who is actually going to use it and read with it. I know that Lisa Papez, for example, is a huge fan of this deck. So I'm sure a lot of people are. The way that the author created this deck is very sustainable, and I love that about it. I wish I felt differently, but I'm not, and I need to face it, because I think I was pushing it off. I was like, let me give it a little bit more time. It's been 6 months. I used it 5 times or so. But that was literally because I forced myself to. And when I used it, the reading did not mean anything. It was not accurate for me. I can't. And that's okay. It's great that we all love different things. So I'm sure that somebody else is going to love reading with this deck and enjoy it to the depths that I never could. So this was the first one. Oak, Ash and Thorn. The next deck is the Wiser Tarot. Now, I thought when I got this deck, actually, that it is amazing. I read with it for quite a long time. And it is good. I'm not going to lie. It is a good deck. I'm not saying it's not. But the more I learn about Rider-Waite-Smith, secrets, let's say, the more I see that the coloration of some cards don't make complete sense. It is a bit more gloomy. I don't like the fact that the outlining is quite thick. It kind of bothers me. I would like to see more details. I feel the details get swallowed in some cards. And yeah, it's just I have the universal Rider-Waite-Smith. And if I want to use Rider-Waite-Smith, I'm going to go for that one instead of this one. Because it's just, I don't know. I just would, I suppose. Just because I'm studying. I am studying Rider-Waite-Smith right now. I have a crazy theory that I will share at some point, but I'm working on it because I need to untangle all my crazy ideas and put them on the paper before I can share them with you, because they are crazy and some people are gonna get very upset when I share that theory with you, I think. Anyhow, this is not the deck I'm using to do that, so that tells me everything. I don't use it anymore. I used it when I got it, which was at the very beginning of my tarot journey, and after I used it for a while, I started getting other clones of Rider-Waite-Smith decks and I use those more, so this one has to go. Oh, funny, 3 of Swords. Well, I'm sorry, Wiser Tarot, but I'm sure there's somebody that's gonna love you more than I do. The next deck is Mystical Cats Tarot by Lunea Weatherstone and art by Mickey Müller. This deck is absolutely adorable. Nothing is wrong with it at all. But what I did was I put aside the cards that I love and I put aside the cards that I don't love. And guess what? The ones that I don't love and the ones that I love are 50-50, and I'm sorry. I need to love more than 50% of the cards to keep a deck. Some cards, in my opinion, just don't show the meaning of the card very well. For example, this is the one, 3 of Earth. I mean, if it was at least a mouse or something, I mean, the cats are not really known for catching beetles. It just, yeah, some of the cards are flipping adorable, like this one, 9 of Sky is amazing. Or the Fool is amazing. The aces are boring. Sorry, but they are. Some of them, like the 2s, are a bit boring too. This is, though, my favorite card. It's so funny. It's hilarious. And basically, I used this deck like 5 times maybe altogether. I looked through it a lot because I really enjoyed the paintings. I found them funny and adorable, but not enough. And yeah, I don't like the way this demon cat is a devil, although the bird's expression is very terrifying and funny. I edged this deck as well. It's edged very beautifully in this very light blue. And of course, you know how Llewellyn cards shuffle. They shuffle amazingly. I love the size of them. But yeah, it has to go. It has to go. Yep, I need to untangle myself from cluttering and declutter it. I'm sure someone is gonna love this deck so much. The next one that has to go is the Mermaid Tarot by Lisa Robinson, illustrated by Julie Dillon. It is beautiful, don't get me wrong. This deck is absolutely gorgeous. But like I said many times before in my videos, oh my god, look how I added in this absolutely amazing, strong blue. It's, I don't know the name for it, but it's just gorgeous, don't you think? Yeah, it's beautiful, but I just can't read with it. I just can't. I tried. I used this deck to study because I got it, like it was my second deck, I think, that I got. And I love water, but I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's the fact that Lisa Robertson, she actually wrote in the book that she wasn't too drawn to the mermaids, if I remember correctly. But then when she started researching and stuff, she was. But initially she wasn't. And maybe I can sense this from this deck. I don't know. I can't read with it. I'm sorry. It's beautiful. It's refreshing. It's inclusive. It has many different ages, different races, different skin tones. It's brilliantly done in a way where they created the fire suit in water that still has completely fire energy, which I find brilliant. I love how they decided to create pentacles in a way where the mermaid folk is the one in rivers and lakes and stuff instead of the sea, which I find amazing too. But I don't know. I don't know. What is your experience with this deck? Because I know a lot of people have and love this deck, but I'm sorry, Mermaid Tarot, you have to go. The next few decks are Oracle decks. So one of them is the Healing Spirits Oracle. I literally used this deck 3 times. I thought it's gonna be amazing, and I love the idea behind it. It's beautiful. It has gorgeous art, very ethereal, very 5th dimensional deck. But I find the messages are too direct. I don't know. Let's look at this one. For example, natural healing power, right? The best way to bring healing and balance back into a life that is out of sorts is to spend the day in nature. Healing spirits and helpers work hand in hand with Mother Nature, and the goodness and compassion they share is everything she has to offer. Beauty can be found in everything that is natural, and everything that is natural has the power to heal. Spirit healers and helpers can get closer to you when your mind is open to the natural world, and this is why you must allow yourself to wander in a place where your mind can relax and the healing spirits can fill you with much needed peace. Rejoice in nature's vast garden. Okay, this one is actually quite nicely written. It's just you vibe with some decks and with some you don't. I think it was every time I pulled the card, I didn't relate to the meaning of it for that specific reading, for that specific question. I think that's what it is. I might try to reconnect with this. But then again, I have other decks for healing and for working with maybe liminal spaces or for working with my shadow. And I feel, I don't know, this one is just somewhere in between and it doesn't do anything for me. So yeah, it's basically unused. So this one is I'm gonna let go of this one. I might actually gift it to somebody who, you know, doesn't have many decks, because I feel this deck could be a good healing deck as a deck to start with, perhaps, because it's quite direct and easy. It's not complex, but yeah, it definitely is not staying with me. And then the next one, I actually have a bag for, which is sad because I'm not using it at all. Or it's actually 2 decks together, and it's the soul cards. And this is definitely one of those decks that I got because everyone on YouTube was like saying how amazing they are and how intuitive and how great. And I don't know. I mean, they are great, don't get me wrong. But I rather use other decks that I have whenever I decide to do reading. But I just don't want to use these for myself or for others. The only other way that I can see myself using this would be if I had like a workshop where I would choose every person to pick a card and they'd talk about this card, share emotions, whatever. But that would be a very specific way to use these cards, and at the moment I am not doing anything like that. So I might keep it just for a little bit longer if I can find a use in them in this way, where a person pulls the card and is like a significator card, and then we talk about what they feel or see in this card, and then we pull cards with tarot to continue. That's maybe the way I could use it as well. But I have not used them since I got them. Literally, I have not used these cards. And they are very potent and powerful. I understand why people adore them and speak so highly of them. They deserve the praise they do. But it's just for me, I have not been using them for myself. And I feel if I don't use a deck for myself, then it's really hard for me to use a deck for others, because I feel I need to know the deck in order to read for other people properly. Does that make sense? What is your experience with the soul cards? Please let me know. I know people compare them to the Shimmering Veil Tarot, which I understand, but I have that deck and I use that deck and I love using that deck, and I would rather use that deck instead of this one if I had to use one. Because, I don't know, I love systems. If I sell it, I will not sell it with this bag. I still have the original boxes. This bag will stay with me and I'll just use it for some other deck. Let's see. I'll give a few more months to this one, but most likely soul cards are gonna go. So this is another deck that is leaving my collection. Now, I am not gonna talk about why, because I don't want any backlash to happen, but it is just, been sitting on the shelf. Although the art is absolutely gorgeous, it is a deck that kind of combines tarot with oracle, and the intention behind it is that the healing messages from cannabis plant would come through it. Now, I wonder what your experience is with this deck if you have it. I just didn't use it enough to really talk about my experiences, to be honest with you. But I will say that the art is absolutely gorgeous. And considering that it's liminal 11 cardstock, I think it shuffles really well, because I had the Modern Witch Tarot from the same publisher and the cardstock was so bad. But this one actually can shuffle it really nicely, to be honest with you. Look at that. It shuffles really nicely. Here you can see the star, basically, right? The Hermit. So you can see tarot messages in this card as well. Death, right? Empress. Anyhow, it is very metaphysical, like it says, but I have not been using it. There is some contradictory about the author of this deck as well, which I don't know enough about to say anything about it, so I'm not going to. But yeah, it is a deck that is also leaving my collection, and it is the last deck that is leaving my collection. And what is interesting and what I'm really happy about is the fact that these are the only decks out of my... How many decks do I have now? Let me check and come back to you. So I have 77 tarot and oracle decks combined, not counting the ones that are leaving my tarot family. And out of those is just these 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just these 7 decks that I am not happy with. That is incredible, I think. I see people decluttering way more than 7 decks, I'm gonna say, in the same size of number of the decks close to the number of the decks I have. So I'm very grateful and happy that my intuition led me to the choices that I made for my decks. And yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that. Tell me which are the decks that you are thinking of decluttering, or you are thinking to say goodbye to in your tarot family. I would be very glad to hear about that. I also would be really happy to hear if you have any thoughts on the decks that I showed you here, because I'm always curious to see what other people think of different decks, you see. So yeah, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful time wherever you are in this beautiful world, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.